Now guys, I kind of have been breaking a rule of mine, which is to just leave a building completely unbraced. We had one chain over here that we put on that first truss set that we did way back when, but we haven't put any more chains on these walls. We haven't tried to plumb anything. It's just been getting built and left to do whatever. So before we keep going on our overhangs, fascia, because the more material that we put on the building, the more material we have to potentially move if out of plumb. So Greg, what do you got there? You got the plate level.
So about,
I mean, pretty freaking good though.
About 3/8.
Oh, you're moving it. Okay,
yeah.
So you're saying that this chain that you just put up,
Yep.
we need to yank it just a little bit more.
Yep, but before I do that, I'm gonna put this one on just snug.
No, wait, why would you do that?
Because then we're gonna like pull against it and it's gonna tighten it all up and lock it in.
We don't ever want to put all the tension on one chain. We always want nice equal and opposite pulling. So if we need to yank the wall to the east, we need to make sure that it's tight to the west, and then we pull it back even tighter, and that might be a little too tight.
No, this is perfect.
Oh.
So that is just barely snug, it's tight, and then when we pull against it, it'll lock it in.
See, oh yeah, okay, so Greg's got some tension on this. So you're gonna take a link?
I'm gonna take a link and we'll go from there.
Okay. See if I can do this. I don't have a problem with that.
Pretty good.
Yeah, now this post right here is super important to us. And the reason that post is super important, it is the corner of our porch, which means that the more accurate and plumb that column is, the more accurate our framing is when I cut it mathematically to the right dimension. When we're doing, this is gonna be a fully hipped porch, those hip rafters, the regular rafters, all that stuff will get cut based on math, which if things aren't plumb and square when you frame, then your math is not going to work. So now we're gonna go around, we're gonna do all 4 walls and get them all plumbed up and tight.
Hand me that, there you go.
Oh, I just saved climbing all of it. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Now one thing that we try to do is when putting these chains on, you'll notice here the bracket, we've got those bolts coming out. So what Greg will do is he'll kind of snug it up to that top bolt. That way when the chain pulls, it can't slide up. And you may be saying, well, why not go to the bottom bolt? That's because we want that chain out of the way. So when we do our grade board, Greg was gonna try to make a liar out of me, but he's just holding it. So we want our grade board to go down, and if that chain is low, it's in our way, and we can't move the chain until we get the sheathing on or whatever it is that's gonna lock in our wall. So we got a little bit of a process here, but it's pretty easy. All right, I see what Greg's doing.
That didn't do anything, did it? Oh, perfect, thanks.
Heck yeah.
Okay, this is gonna,
That's gonna move it.
that probably moved too much.
Nah, I feel it, dude, I feel it.
I like it.
I think that's good. We're now gonna move on to overhangs. So if you look over there, you can actually see we got one started, and we were able to put some of those overhangs on those truss sections that we flew in way on the other end, which was awesome because it saves me a ton of time. But now we need to get around the rest of the building, create our overhangs. In my opinion, the building doesn't look nearly as cool as it will once the overhangs are on, so let's get into it. All right, so the first thing that we need to do is cut a bunch of lumber up. I'm actually cutting up what we call our bevel boards. And it's funny because usually we don't bevel these. They go at the very end of our truss or our post, basically, so that we create another framing member for our sheathing to go on or our roof steel, whatever we're doing. And typically we use a 2x4, but because this is my building and because I'm a little bit over the top, it's not a whole lot more money. I spent money on 2x6s because I'm actually going to bevel them so that it matches the pitch of my roof. A little bit more work, a little bit more time, probably not worth it, but I'll sleep better knowing that at least I tried. So we're gonna get these cut up. We'll get them ran through the table saw to create a bevel, and then later you'll see them go up and it will make sense what I'm talking about when I say bevel board. And then we probably should stop calling them bevel boards unless we're gonna bevel them on every job, which it's all Greg's fault. He told me we couldn't bevel anymore. He said it was a waste of our time, so. Maybe go say hi to Greg and see what he's up to.
What is up, YouTube? I'm just over here creating our overhang tails, and I'm just simply making them 4 foot long, drilling some holes for our 60s, and then we'll show you how we attach them up there on the truss.
We beveled it, and that is a 412 pitch. But we also have a 512 pitch. Here, big dog. I'll give you that one too. Since we have a 512 pitch roof also, now we're gonna change this up. We'll do the rest of them at a 512, which I don't remember that dimension. It's like 23 degrees or something, right, Greg?
22 point something?
22.62, so 22 and a half. Greg is so smart. Oh. This board is built different, dude.
Yeah, it's a thick board.
It's one of them thick boards. So this is the tail, and we're gonna do a 2 foot overhang on this project. I think that's always a good look versus just a simple 1 foot. I've gone over this many times, but we need to apply our purlins in the field versus, what'd I say?
You said purlins.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, you should apply your purlins in the field.
Exactly. Just let me get, I gotta get to the rest of my story. I think we have to apply our tails in the field in a post-frame method of construction, unlike the stick frame where we were able to do all of our fascia and stuff on the ground, because there's really no good way to ensure, A, that these are perfect dimensions. Like if they would have done these with a 22 and a half applied to this face, it wouldn't have worked. So we would have had to have had them cut them long. So now we have this long tail. We have a building that is not perfectly straight. We'd have to perfectly straighten it before we do our fascia. That's actually kind of hard to do also because there's nothing really to secure the building down to. Even with the chains, there's still movement, and there's no good way to snap a line with as much perfection, I think, and what our experience tells us, than doing it off of this at the exact dimension and then straightening the fascia, because that should give us a perfectly straight fascia with a accurate dimension on our tail without having to go through all that work to straighten it first before we snap a line. So we're gonna go through, we'll run these purlins, and then we'll do the bevel board that I just showed you down on the ground. I forgot this is a 7'6" bay, dude.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, it's all good. I don't like always running my table saw through the end of a board. I like to cut off after it's been ran through the table saw. You know? Mm-hmm. So yeah, okay, these were 7'6" bays. These were all cut down at 8 foot bay dimensions. So now I need to do 7, let's see, 7 4 1/2, 7 3 3/4. Dang it. I hate being stupid. Nothing like cutting all the lumber on the ground and then getting to recut it in the scissor lift.
It's the best thing in the world.
Yeah. You know, of all the things that we do, this is like the one thing that I wish we had a stronger way of doing it, and I don't know what it is. Well, maybe if we made our tails again like we used to.
Yeah, I was about to say that's exactly.
That's about it.
That's about how.
Yeah, where we use the 2x6 bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Nah, that was unnecessary. Really making me look bad, having to redo all this. All right, now Gregoroni.
Got a straight one?
Yep, let's go ahead and just grab one of these boards. Let's get a straight edge so we can determine where we're gonna cut this off. We can do the math, but
well,
it's not as accurate.
It's not
probably
the same as the other side, is it?
What's that?
It's not the same as those trusses.
No,
well,
yes, it is. It's 15.2. It's gonna be hard because I can't really hook, but this will be close enough to see if this is 15.2. So we're 15.2 and almost 3/8. So, oh wait, maybe it's 52 1/4. 14 feet run, 5-inch pitch, that's 15.2. So we have two options. And I'm gonna go with option 1, the one I pick. And that's gonna be, we're gonna split the middle. So if we're about 3/8 heavy, we're gonna go 3/16, and that's where we're gonna cut it, because math never lies, but we also know that wood's not perfect, and the dimensions, well, we're not perfect, so it could be off a little, but in my experience, usually this method is close enough, but it can get off when the peak of our truss doesn't come into a perfect center point. So we're just gonna go ahead and we'll go split the middle, you know? So option 2 would be to just go off of this and say, hey, this is where it's at, this is what it should be. But I know that sometimes the way the frame goes together, the way it falls into place is not exactly where you want it, and you have to just put it where you want it. And then it all comes out better at the end, in my personal, humble, professional opinion. So we're gonna split the middle, we're gonna go mathematically where it's supposed to be, and in the middle of where it says it should be. It's okay, dude. I didn't see you miss. It didn't even happen. All right, we've wrapped up our overhangs as far as we can go for now anyway. There are some random overhangs we still need to do, but we're gonna start working on sheathing. And in order to sheathe the roof, we need to make sure it's straight. So this, I think, is our worst section of roof because of the way the design is. It's just weird. We don't really have a way to straighten this as we build it, so now it's all gonna have to get straightened now, which if you look down it, it's got a nice gentle, the whole thing just kinda goes out like this. So we'll get some chains, we'll pull this all back, we'll get this straightened and get this thing ready for sheathing. So just like all of our other buildings, guys, we're using the tails as our thing to straighten to. So when this string line is set up from one end to the other, I'll be able to just basically push and pull this building to the string line as long as our sides are locked, which they are with chains, and we'll get it straightened out. Yeah, we at least got a good inch in the middle. So let's get that skid loader in there. Am I good?
1 second.
I guess let's see what happens, huh?
You need to go about 1/8 more,
So is that a wedge?
probably. I would say about 3/16. Yeah, leave that. Okay, that took half of that out. Now we need to take about same amount over on that girl.
Oh, so now you're assigning gender to my post? Huh, interesting. I don't think I've told you what that gender is yet. That's my job to assign gender. And that right there is one of the most masculine posts I've ever seen, so.
I don't know what just happened there. Wedge it about heavy 1/8. More?
More?
Yep.
Oh, dang it.
Hair more. Too much, let her off. Oh, yeah, we'll run with that.
Okay, and then this one needs more wedge. You need more cowbell on this girl? just showed up and he's already got his green sticker in his hand. That's always a good sign. I can't see nothing, that sun's so bright. I mean, I can see everything. I'm operating safely. All right, so we got the fascia straightened by using the chains back to the skid loader, but we also have to square the peak, which it was just about an inch out of square the way it was sitting according to the tape measure. So I'm gonna check it now. I need to be 22 8 3/4. I just put a chain on that peak and we pulled it the way we wanna go. Let's just see if it was enough. Get that up to old Greg up there. He's got a mark and I've got a mark, and we want to be 22 8 3/4, and I'm 22 8 1/2. So I need another 1/4 of an inch. Hold it there and set a nail so that you can come down here. 1/4 inch is a little bit tough because I won't be able to put a whole nother bite on a link, but I can wedge a board underneath the chain to, in essence, shorten the distance and pull the peak a little bit more. Anyway, we need this to be square, and 22 8, yeah, right there, Greg, that'll work, man. So just come on down here and hold this, and I'll go wedge the board so that we can stay.
Or vice versa.
Well, then crawl down that corner right there.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
All right, buddy, you the man. God, I love Greg. Such a good guy.
What are you saying?
Nothing, I didn't say nothing about you. You're average. Below average, actually. You need to get better, son.
Better than where it was, I guess.
You know what, as long as you're improving, hey, 4 points of contact going down that wall. You had one tap too many, my guy. I'd say leave that. All right, so now we're 22 8 3/4. Mathematically, that means that peak is exactly square to this fascia line from this point to that end. That doesn't mean that in the middle it's perfect. We've got everything locked in, so these points aren't gonna move, so we can sheathe and kind of take out any irregularities with the sheathing. And what I mean by that is if we look up this wall here, this fascia actually looks money. It's like perfectly straight. So we will use it as our guide, and we will use these points of our tail as our marking guide so that we can cut this fascia with a track saw perfect, and then we can change this a little bit to hit our straight line if we have to, and then fasten. And that'll all come as we go. Nice job, buddy, let's do this. Nice. Okay, so one thing is that, oh, hey, this is a great example. So this is an 8-foot scrap piece. So where Greg's hands are up there is where we're going to run the first piece. And you might be saying, well, this is kind of weird, we got a big overhang. That's okay, because from that point up is 8 feet. We did this layout purposefully so that we'll do a full here, a full there. We'll put a 6-footer next to it so that'll drop the stagger down to this guy. Then we'll come through and we'll have a mark where this fascia plane is, and on that tail fascia plane is, which has all been straightened off the string line. We'll snap that line, cut it with the track saw. This will be a scrap waste, and this chunk right here will go up to the top and finish our run. Essentially, we'll just go down the way, put all of our fulls on, and then just cut as we go. So it should be a nice and efficient process. I love sheathing, it's just so much fun. Okay, so Greg has got me in the center of our board up there, and I'm looking for this line that we have on our purlins. And then that's what we're gonna line up as we go up the way here, which, take it out just a hair for a second. Yeah, right there. All right, important. This spacing right here needs to stay 2 feet because that is where my stagger is going to be. And in order to make sure that every time we stagger it, we don't get off and these boards have a little, you know, swale in them or something, we need to make sure we pay attention to that. Hey, Greg.
Yep.
Look at that. Yeah, let's go ahead and go back down there. Let me set a nail. So we're not gonna nail this. I'm not nailing the fascia because that won't get nailed until, okay, I'm gonna stick a nail in it, but I'm not gonna nail the sheathing to it because that's gonna get nailed after we've cut our sheathing off.
Got it?
Yep. Oh, Greg, we're
What?
7'6". I'm never gonna line up anyway. Guys, this 7'6" on center post spacing's got me all jacked up because I was expecting my sheathing to line up with every tail. It's not going to now. What that means is as we progress, we're gonna have to do some snap lining before we cover up the next tail. So we'll do another row, we'll put our square up and we'll snap line across this, and we'll just have to kind of remember that, Greg. No. Let's get that in a more comfortable, safe position. That is what I want.
I knew you wanted to run that machine.
It's true. Does that work for you, buddy?
If it works, it works.
Okay. So we're just gonna square up this face so that we know where we're going to snap this. And Greg, I don't have my snap line. Hopefully this is, wait, no, this is mine.
Well, it was in my pouch.
Yeah, this is mine. Yours is the one with the bad, that's the one that I grabbed yesterday and didn't like, remember?
Not sure how I got my pouch then.
Well, you probably just wanted it so bad. So now that's gonna give us a straight line that we will push and pull our fascia. Since it's a 7'6" span, we'll push and pull it to be right there. But we're not gonna worry about that yet. We're gonna get all this sheathing laid, get locked in, because worst case, we need to get grading done. You know what I'm saying?
Love it.
Too easy. Thank you, Magni. Not only is it great for setting trusses and walls, but bringing up your sheathing, holding on to for safety, and I got grease all over my hand. Really, this sheathing thing is quite easy. Honestly, I think all the work is in the prep, the squaring, the straightening. Putting the sheets down that's easy. All right, we got one more sheet. We're gonna let it run wild right over top of the overhang here. We'll rip it down later, but Greg, we do need to cut this bad boy right here.
Oh, I see that. Yeah.
Can you verify that that is a good straight board? You know, most people say, oh man, the steeper the roof, the harder it is. There's actually a really fine line between the flatter it is, the more of a pain it is, and the steeper it's more of a pain.
It depends on where you want your pain.
That's right. Do you want it in your back from bending over, or do you want it in your ankles? You know what they say, where there's a will, there's a way. There we go, see? Now we're on it.
Now we're cooking with
You guys
bacon
see how we're
grease.
developing a straight facial line? We snapped it off our tails, and like right here I can see this is a little out, boom. I just pull it out, but the important part is that where our tails are, that it lines up with our sheet. So that'll give us a nice straight facial line. Perfect. Sheet's all yours, dude.
Yeah.
Nice. See?
Sounds like sarcasm to me.
Nope, not sarcasm. I wouldn't cheat you. You're my favorite turd. You got it? Nice. We got the most of it done. And now we just got to nail it off. That was actually pretty easy. And it turned out pretty darn good, buddy. It looks really nice. Yeah. So now we're just taking our cutoffs and they go just like so and fill in the top. And then we'll track saw the top off. And then I get to blow again, which is cool.
Just tear it downhill a little bit. Right there. Hold that. Right there. Snap that.
It's all gonna come out in the wash, man. I'll remember this corner from the day I die, though, that this is the one Greg eyeballed me and he said, yeah, that's that's gonna be perfect.
I think we should have went up a little heavier in our snap line.
I think it's okay. Does that help you?
I don't think so.
Well, then I won't help anymore. Oh boy, that was heavy. I did it though. Are you proud of me?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Oof.
That's our first section of sheathing installed. We still have to tape this. This is the Weather Logic from LP. We've used it a lot. And the blue covering, that's an integrated WRB, so that's a weather resistant barrier that's gonna protect our OSB. So we just gotta tape these seams and then we are money. But that'll be at a different time. It's not gonna be today, but it needs to be quickly because we don't want a lot of dust on this roof. We wanna make sure we get that tape on as soon as possible, but we gotta move to a different part of the project, which is prepping for concrete, because concrete is coming in a day or two, and we got a lot of grade work to do on the inside. But we had to get this done because we had to get that skid loader set in the middle so that we could brace this, push and pull it where we wanted it. But now that this is here, we can go ahead and take those chains down and we'll move the skid loader and start working our final grade. Oh, that end, dude, just sticks out a little bit.